Welcome back to my MCU review series. Today, I'll be talking about the sequel to the wildly successful Iron Man. This film picks up right after the events of the first. Tony Stark has revealed himself to be the hero known as Iron Man, but the government sees him as a potential threat and desires to take away his suits. Meanwhile, Tony's blood is being infected as the suit is slowly killing him. Also, there's another weapons manufacturer, Justin Hammer, who's jealous of Tony and wants to wipe out the competition. There's a guy with a vendetta for Tony and builds another suit to become the villain Whiplash. Just from me reading part of what this movie is about, you can already gather what the main problem here is. Most people hate Iron Man 2 for reasons that I do understand, and I'll get to later. It's definitely one of the weakest MCU films, but it still has some entertainment value. Of course, you get to spend more time with Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark and Iron Man. None of the appeal of this actor or the character have decreased since the first film. One of my favorite scenes, once again, is when he and Pepper Potts are talking at the beginning.
The expo is a gigantic waste of time.
I need you to wear a surgical mask until you're feeling better. Is that okay?
That's rude.
There's nothing more important to me than the expo. It's my primary point of concern. I don't know why you're...
The expo is your ego going crazy.
Wow, look at that. That's modern art. I've actually given this a fair amount of thought, believe it or not. Doing a bit of headhunting, so to speak. Trying to figure out who a worthy successor would be. And then I realized... it's you. It's always been you.
You get to see more of this romantic dynamic that was amazing in the previous film. The action sequences are still fun, like the race car track confrontation between Iron Man and Whiplash, the cool idea of Tony having the Iron Man suit inside a briefcase.
Come on!
Or when Iron Man and War Machine team up to fight a bunch of drones during the third act. My favorite addition to the story, hands down, is Black Widow. She has a lot of cool moments within the film that set up her character nicely. Like the scene where she defeats Tony's bodyguard Happy during a boxing match.
I need her. She's got everything that I need.
Rule number 1, never take your eye off your opponent.
Oh my God! Happy!
That's what I'm talking about.
Just slip.
You did?
Yeah.
Looks like a TKO to me.
Or this amazing sequence where she takes out like 12 dudes in a building, all while Happy is just having a brawl with this one person.
I got him!
However, that's really all I can praise. The simple fact that the film still has enjoyable moments, and you're still entertained by it. But I don't think that as a whole this film is a disaster. On a story level, it is a train wreck. It's well documented that Jon Favreau, the director of the first Iron Man as well as this one, wanted a 3-year production for a sequel, but Marvel Studios didn't want conflicts with any upcoming projects, so they insisted on 2 years. The shorter production time really shows. From me reading the synopsis at the beginning of the review, you can tell there's just too much going on. Whether it's Tony being killed by his own suit, Pepper becoming the CEO of Stark Industries, Ivan Vanko becoming Whiplash to have revenge on Tony, Justin Hammer trying to become the #1 weapons manufacturer, Iron Man 2 has no idea what it wants to be. This leads to a lot of other problems. It has the main villain Whiplash appear during that racetrack scene in the first act, and then he's shoved off into the background until the final battle at the end. The story tries to touch on Tony's relationship with his father.
What is and always will be my greatest creation is you.
And Tony's friendship with Rhodey hitting a rough patch.
That's it. I'm making.
No. Don't call anyone.
This is ridiculous. I just stuck my neck out for this guy.
I know.
Put your hand down.
You think you got what it takes to wear that suit?
We don't have to do this, Tony.
You want to be the War Machine? Take your shot.
Put it down.
You gonna take a shot?
Put it down.
No!
Drop it, Tony.
Take it!
But in the middle of everything else that's going on, they just feel like afterthoughts and they're just really hollow. There's a whole subplot shoehorned in with Nick Fury, and it's just a commercial for the Avengers. It's like the whole movie just brought its story, I do that because there almost isn't one, to a halt, just to remind us, oh, that film is happening soon. Go watch it. Oh, well, yeah, but we're in this movie. No compelling storyline running through, but a lot of undercooked plot points fighting each other the entire time. By the end, you realize there's no thematic build-up for the third act, and for the ending itself. You don't feel anything, because it's just a bunch of stuff happening. Finally, some of the comedy just didn't work at all. You have the subplot of Justin Hammer and Ivan Vanko, which, by the way, Sam Rockwell does give a good performance as Justin Hammer, and could have had a great villain dynamic with Tony Stark. He has a really good joke in the film where he's showing Rhodey a bunch of weapons.
This is my Eiffel Tower. This is my Rachmaninoff's third, my Pieta. It's completely elegant, it's bafflingly beautiful, and it's capable of reducing the population of any standing structure to zero. I call it the ex-wife.
There's something else he does that I'll talk about later, but he's just stuck talking to Ivan about birds.
Yes.
I want my bird.
A bird? You want a bird?
I want my bird.
I can get you a bird, I can get you 10 birds.
I want my bird.
Well, okay, nothing's impossible. Are we talking about, is this a bird back in Russia?
And there's a moment where Ivan takes the head out of one of the prototype suits. It's just these comedic attempts that fall flat. On top of that, you have this really cringe-inducing scene where Tony Stark gets drunk and he's inside the suit and he's dancing and he pisses in the suit.
You know, the question I get asked most often is, Tony, how do you go to the bathroom in the suit? Just like that.
And it just feels like they were trying too hard to be funny, where it just happened naturally in the first film. All the humor just naturally flowed out of the characters. And here we need a scene of Iron Man getting drunk and being stupid. That's not very good when you're coming off a film like Iron Man, one of the best comic book films ever made. In the end, I don't hate this movie. It's okay. I still enjoy watching it in parts. It just makes quite a few bad choices. I'm going to give it a C. However, when Sam Rockwell was Justin Hammer, he did give us this masterpiece.